This evening, we invite you to a space of listening. We are going to hear reflections about what those near the cross might have had on their minds that day near Jerusalem. We will hear music for reflection and some voices sharing just a small part of what they experienced that day so long ago. After each individual shares, we invite you to a period of silent reflection while the music plays in the background. Let us now hear their stories and reflect upon our own experiences of the cross and the love that God has revealed for each of us.
The pounding of a nail used to bring solace, be a place of peace. Now it resonates with such hurt. The hammer is not the work of your father, Joseph's hands. It's not warmth or shelter in the hands of a carpenter. It's the resounding sounds of these men who nailed my firstborn son to that old wooden cross. There it is again, the pounding. I cannot bear. Is this really how my God wanted this to end? Is this what Simeon meant so many years ago when he said a sword will pierce your very soul? This pain in my heart and this sadness is too much to endure. I remember wanting desperately for someone to speak up, someone to save my son, and screaming out, "Help us, please. Do you hear his pain?" I cried out, "No, my son, this cannot be. This shouldn't be how this should end. My child, how can this be? A mother should not place her son in a tomb. It should be me upon that cross. Why bless me with Jesus and then take him away? This grief is just too much to bear. What shall come of all this pain? How do I move from this place? Where do I go from here?" I know John will heed Jesus' words and he will take care of me, but Jesus is my child. No other can replace him. Peace and comfort seems fleeting in the waves of pain that I feel. My heart aches and longs to hear Jesus' voice, to see him as he once was, full of life. He has become the Messiah to so many, a leader of our people, a true disciple maker.
I watched this story unfold before us. I still can't fathom how people turn so quickly against Jesus. We were there in the streets, masses of people gathering to see him, to just touch some of his garments. People were shouting, "Hosanna, Hosanna! Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord." What changed? Was it jealousy, greed, or money that turned those we should have trusted with our all against us? Against Jesus? When we reclined at the table together, Jesus knew. He knew all along that this was the cup that we were to bear. He wanted deeply for us to understand that he would leave us and go to the Father. I didn't fully understand, but as time passed, the agony of the cross would hit me. I watched them make Jesus carry that cross, and I wanted desperately to bear that cross for him. They ridiculed and mocked him on the same streets they praised him. The pain that they brought upon him was unbearable to watch. I should have done something, anything, to change what was to come. As Jesus hung on that cross, he entrusted me with the care of his mother, the one who deeply cares for him. I am not sure I am worthy of such an honor, but I will do all I can to care for her as if she were my own. I will take care of her in my home, and we will walk through the agony and grief together. We will wait together for the joy that Jesus promised unto us. I will give Jesus' mother the keys to my home, just as he gave us disciples the greatest gift, the keys to the kingdom of heaven.
I have followed after Jesus. I have watched him heal, preach, and teach, but nothing prepared me for the suffering on the cross that day. I would have done anything to take that bitter taste of vinegar from his mouth. Jesus does not deserve such hatred and mockery. He is the Messiah. I am unsure of what caused people to turn against him so viciously and how they justified their actions at the cross. I know he didn't deserve such a bitter cup. I heard him on that cross cry out those words, "I thirst." If I could, I would have ran to him with a cup to satisfy his thirst. After all, he was the one who could satisfy our thirst, saying, "Let anyone who is thirsty come to me and drink. Whoever believes in me, as Scripture has said, rivers of living water will flow from within them." I was left there far away from his hurting and his pain, unable to help. He would have done anything to help his people, but we knew that this was the cup of suffering he was to bear. We knew that if he wanted to come down from that cross, he could, but that wasn't the will of the Father. That didn't make it any less painful to watch Jesus hang on that cross. I wept with those around me as we watched the Messiah take his last breath. I watched as Nicodemus and Joseph took him to his burial place and to the tomb where he would lay.
I really wanted to help Jesus. I would have done anything. After all, I was a member of the Sanhedrin. I could have said something and stopped all of this before it got to this point. I could have said something on his behalf. But when the decision was made, I wasn't there. I was deliberately kept in the dark. If I'm honest, I noticed the rest of the group had seen a shift in me towards Jesus. and they made sure I was excluded when they arranged their plans. I did not agree with Caiaphas that Jesus should die. We already see too much death. How would one more make any difference? No one deserved the shame and disrespect that he was shown. Betrayed by his own people, handed over to be ridiculed, and hung to die on that cross. It still sends shivers down my spine. I had not spoken loudly or boldly enough when there was time to save him. But in the end, I still did what I could. After Jesus had died, I went to Pilate and got permission to bury his body. Nicodemus helped me remove his body from the cross. We wrapped his body quickly in linen for burial and placed his body in the tomb that was meant for me. Every time I see linen now, I think about how fragile his lifeless body seemed. When I touch any fabric, it brings to mind the cold reality of what we did. We killed him so we could hold on to the little bit of decency we have been afforded by the Romans who are over us. I still wrestle with how his death made any difference for our people. God, why didn't you help me to stop this? Why does life have to have so much pain? How long do we have to endure all this waiting and pain? I trust that you are at work, but it would sure be nice to see that work from time to time. I'm sorry I did not do any more than this. Help me to do what I can from this point forward.
Don't do, don't do, don't do, don't do.
Just suppose
Don't do.
God searched through heaven.
Don't do.
He couldn't find one willing to be
Don't do.
the supreme sacrifice that was needed. That would buy eternal life for you and me.
Oh, had it not been for a place called Mount Calvary, had it not been for the old rugged cross, had it not been for a man called Jesus, then forever my soul would be lost. Don't do, don't do, don't do, don't do.
But I'm so glad he was willing to drink his bitter cup. Although he prayed, Father, let it pass from me.
Mount Calvary. Had it not been for the old rugged cross, had it not been for a man called Jesus, then forever my soul would be lost. Had it not been for a place called Mount Calvary, had it not been for the old rugged cross, had it not been for a man called Jesus,
Then forever my soul would be lost.
As we close our time on this Good Friday, I want to read for you Isaiah 53, verses 4 and 5. Surely he took up our pain and bore our suffering. Yet we considered him punished by God, stricken by him and afflicted. But he was pierced for our transgressions. He was crushed for our iniquities. The punishment that brought us peace was on him, and by his wounds we are healed. Let's close this time in prayer together. Lord, we thank you for those who remain near Jesus as he was literally carrying the weight of the world's sin on his shoulders. We thank you for those who were there to demonstrate love to the one who was lifted up on the cross, your Son, Jesus Christ. He showed us the full extent of your love that we might be set free from our sins. Draw us nearer, Lord, even to the terrible, destructive cross where Jesus fully bought our redemption. Thank you, Lord, for the cross. We pray this in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.